5:38. Everyone's that I know of is coming. So I'm gonna, call this meeting to order at 5:38. This is the Monroe County Women's Commission. It's July 17th. The commission shall serve as an advisory role to assist residents, businesses, and the government of Monroe County in addressing issues of gender equity. The mission is to advance the status of women and marginalized genders of all county life. So did we want to skip the approval of minutes then?
Yeah, I need to update them and get them out. The ones that I sent were the same ones, and I can't seem to find the updated ones, so I'll get them out tomorrow.
Okay. And then we will go to commissioner updates. We feel like we haven't seen each other in so long that we have a lot to update. One of the things that I thank you to Julie for putting fire under me, just lit me up about numbers and all sorts of things. But one of the things that I've done is I've updated the orientation. I was waiting for Molly Turner King to send me some updates. She has, but honestly, I don't know what they are. So I am still working on that. I've also forwarded that, so I'm on the Fire Protection District Board, and I'm making them do an orientation for the new board members because that's just how I roll. So it is the one that I've updated is inner files. Yes, on Teams, and then you didn't get a hold of Greg?
Well, Greg, we were supposed to get something from Greg about whatever that app is, and I never received anything. I kept forgetting to email back and say I didn't get it, so we need to let him know. Did anybody else get that?
I'm in.
Oh. I didn't.
You have to use an authenticator app.
No, I understand, but
Yeah.
there was information he was going to send us, and we never received it.
Yeah, I never did either, but I don't know. Yeah.
I still can't. I mean, I authenticated 3 times, and it just went back to that screen that I screenshotted or whatever.
Yep. So we need instructions. Greg was saying he was going to send instructions, and I haven't received it, and I don't know if anybody else has. So follow up on that.
Here's can hook us up. Okay. Well, when we get access, it is there. And I mean, I think at some point I would like to present it again in our meeting here, just so we all know what it is and offers, feedback. What other news do I have? The Women's Commission, the State Women's Commission has just kind of fell apart. I know Jordan, who I haven't even talked to in a million years, has stepped down. I wouldn't be surprised if it was dissolved. But I don't know for sure.
When did that happen?
When did Jordan step down? I got an email not that long ago saying that she was quitting.
Because I got an email from her about the, yeah. Was it, so it was after that?
So I'm sure it's,
It's unclear what that commission did anyway.
Besides the awards.
Besides the dinner.
Speaking of, so I'm going to throw that in here. Actually, I meant to mention that anyway. So I went to an award the other day called, we did talk, I think, anyway, I'm pointing at Liz, I went to the Women Engage Bloomington Awards from the, what is it?
Oh, the Web Awards from
The
the
Web
Chamber.
Awards. Chamber, that's it. The other day, because one of my never let me talk after 3 p.m. She was nominated and she received awards, someone that I'm on the Fire Protection District with, so a whole bunch of us went to support her. And I was sitting there, and I had already talked about, we've kind of talked about this too, about a women's award for Monroe County. And then after attending that or during it, I texted David Henry, who's one of the county counselors, and it was like, we need to have an award for Monroe County. Like, if Bloomington has at least two that I know of, so the Status of Women has one, and then the Webb Awards, because they're both called Bloomington Awards, and there's nothing called Monroe County. And he was like, well, how much money would it be? And I was like, just depends what we wanted to do. So just trying to figure out what that meant. And, you know, I don't know, just really acknowledging people that live in the county, not necessarily within city limits area, would be a nice thing to do eventually. So. And I was talking to someone else, my boss, about it actually, and she was like, yeah, you don't even have to, it doesn't even have to cost money. You could just acknowledge, you know, and invite someone, you know, to hear, and it doesn't have to be a big fancy shindig. Enough for us to think about, I think. Okay. Yeah, that's all I have. Julie.
All right, let's see. This is what I want. So I think I'm maybe getting a little bit better organized with presenting these topics. We'll see. I'm trying something with the topic for this month and looking at the status of women in Monroe County. So this month, which is actually last month's topic, is education in women. We didn't have last month's meeting, so we're kind of moving the topics forward a little bit. But looking at education and women and marginalized genders, what I'm starting off with is what I ended up narrowing down to the raw data sources. So this is the info that I'll share with you all for notes, and I think that might be useful, especially for the subcommittee that's looking at stats and numbers. But for education and women and marginalized genders, the data sources that came up were IPEDS, which is the Integrated Post-Secondary Education Data System. And for IU Bloomington, which is in Monroe County, they posted 2024 stats for IPEDS, so that's the most recent that's available there. And it looks like what I could find is that Ivy Tech has them posted for 2022 to 2023. So that's, I think, as recent as Ivy Tech has. And then beyond that is some national sources. So there's the National Center for Education Statistics, NCES, and that's from the Institute of Education Sciences, which is the independent research, statistics, and evaluation arm of the U.S. Department of Education, which who knows what that means now. But they have data that's been posted as of 2024, I think. So we have that much information at this point, and who knows what will happen in the future. And then the other source is the National Post-Secondary Student Aid Study, NPSAS, and it's a report, but it's from the Department of Education, that same Institute of Education Science. And it's a first look at student financial aid estimates. And this data is a little bit older. It's from 2019 to 2020, but it had some information that came out. So anyway, those are kind of the raw data sources that people were using. And the reports that were using those sources are kind of where I'm at with what I'm gonna share today. And the reports that were using those sources is the Data USA from Monroe County, Indiana from 2023, which is a report that I've used in previous topics that's come up before. The Institute for Women's Policy Research, they have a report out called Investing in Single Mothers Higher Education in Indiana. So it's an Indiana state-focused one at least. So that had some information that was shared based on those data sources. And then the Education Data Initiative Student Loan Debt by Gender and Student Loan Debt by State. They had two different views, and the one by gender is nationwide, and the Student Loan Debt by State view that they have does not break down by gender. So we get some numbers, but they don't necessarily compare with each other. So it's not that, it wasn't so easy from what I was seeing to find data about women and education narrowed down to Monroe County, Indiana. That's pretty hard. That seems to be pretty hard to come up with. But there are some specifics available, and there's more that you can say at the state level, and then there's more generalization that can be made at the national level. So what I was seeing from the Data USA report was kind of interesting. They had a view from the IPEDS data showing that women received about 48% of the total degrees awarded in Monroe County in 2023. So they're only receiving 48% of degrees, but based on IPEDS data from 2024, the split between men and women as students, enrolled students, is 50-50. Like, it's real close. There's barely any difference. So women are receiving slightly fewer degrees, but there are just as many women as there are men enrolled in education, in post-secondary education. I did not get a chance to dig into what the Ivy Tech IPEDS data from 2022, 2023 said, so that's another area that could be looked into. And then there was some IPEDS reporting on marginalized genders as students. So there were 139 undergraduates at IU Bloomington in 2024 that identified as gender unknown or another gender, and there were 53 graduate students at IU Bloomington in 2024 who identified as gender unknown or another gender. So those options have only been available for students to even use as of 2023. So there's only been like 1 or 2 years that students could even declare that they are not male or female. And who knows if that's gonna remain an option. But it's been kind of interesting to see those numbers. They kind of spiked up after 2023, and all of a sudden there were all sorts of, there were people reporting that they are not actually male or female. So it was interesting to see that data from IPEDS. And another view on women that I got from IPEDS is the number of women at IU Bloomington, the number of women teaching in post-secondary schools. So full-time instructional staff, women make up 44%. Part-time instructional staff, women make up 57%. So there's a big difference. There are many more women proportionally who are teaching part-time than there are women teaching full-time at IU Bloomington. And then comparing that to a little bit to the number of women teaching in P through 12, pre-K through 12th grade. And I could not find anything for the state of Indiana or from Monroe County, but Pew Research used NCES, the National Center for Education Statistics data, to estimate that 77% of P through 12 teachers nationally are women. And if you narrow that down to just the elementary school grades, 89% of those teachers are women. So you have a much higher proportion of women teaching in the elementary education grades than you do in any sort of post-secondary situation. Another area that I tried to look into was, so I tried to look at it as the number of women going to school as head of household. And we had some head of household views that we could get in terms of women living in poverty. But it didn't necessarily line up how I thought I'd be able to find it. So I ended up being able to find something that dealt with single mothers enrolled in school. So that's that Institute for Women's Policy Research. It's a 2020 report on the number of on what they're estimating is the number of single mothers who are in post-secondary education. So they don't have actual hard numbers for Indiana or Monroe County, but they went into the IPEDS data for the state of Indiana for all the post-secondary schools that report IPEDS data. So they took that IPEDS data and then they compared or multiplied that. I think it was a multiplication. Yes, they multiplied that by the regional percentages of single mothers from the. Actually, they said that was from the NPSAS report, that study, the National Post-Secondary Student Aid Study, and taking the percentage of people reporting as single mothers, they were estimating that across the state of Indiana, there's 39,000 or so college students who are single mothers in the state of Indiana, or almost 10% of post-secondary students at that time in 2020, which seems seems pretty big. That was kind of surprising to see that. So I'm kind of interested in if there's more to look at there. But that report I think might be interesting to dig into some. And then I tried to look into some student loan, student debt information, see what I could find regarding women. And the number of women with outstanding student loans, there's nothing for gender by state, but the national trends are suggesting that women carry more student loan debt than men overall. The National Post-Secondary Student Aid Study from 2019-2020 is one of the main sources for this information, and it reports that 74% of women receive financial aid, while only 68% of men did. And they also report that 67% of genderqueer, gender nonconforming, and different gender identity students receive financial aid. So this is all forms of financial aid, not just loans. But you can see proportionally that women are getting more financial aid or dealing with more financial aid than other genders. So in there's a specific table that talks about student loans, and that's showing a significant difference, saying that almost 39% of female undergraduates have student loans, while only 32% of male undergraduates have student loans. And their estimate is that 33% of those that have a different gender identity had student loans. So women are still, as a defined gender, still pretty, higher in terms of having student loans than other students of other genders. So then the amount of money that women owe in student debt. This is also something that doesn't have anything by gender for Monroe County or the state of Indiana, but nationally, that's where the Education Data Initiative did a summary by gender based on the NCES statistics. And that is just a straight up report that they show, and they say that nationally, almost 64% of student loan debt belongs to women. And the average amount of student loan debt for women is $31,700. And that is, I think that's recent. I think as of 2024 or 2025, it was updated recently. And they didn't have numbers with this, but they also noted that Black women have the highest average amount of student loan debt. So I think there's also something there to look into. And then they had student loan debt by state, and within the state of Indiana, the average student loan debt is $33,234. So nationally, women are faring a bit better with their average student loan debt than student loan debt overall in the state of Indiana. Women nationally are dealing with slightly less on average student loan debt than students in general in Indiana are. But there's no gender breakdown within the state, so there's no way to know what that looks like between men and women from what I could find. And that data said they did not have enough information to say much of anything about transgender, non-binary, and other gender identities in student loan debt. So there's not a whole lot to know about student loan debt in that case. But anyway, that was kind of the picture. It's like we got the same number of women and men are going to school. Women are ending up with more debt, and we know from previous topics, women are not earning as much when they are graduating and getting jobs. So they are, in fact, in worse shape after graduating than men are. And I'm not sure what it looks like for folks who are non-binary or have other gender identities, but they might actually, financially at least, be faring a little bit better than women are in a general statistic sense. So.
Where did you say that the same number of men and women are going to school?
It's in Indiana. In Indiana, the IPEDS report for IU Bloomington, at least, it may be different on other campuses around the state, but in IU Bloomington, the IPEDS was showing that it was almost exactly, I think maybe a difference of 50 people. Yeah. So it's very, very close in numbers. For undergraduates and for graduates. Yeah.
That's nice. Thank you.
I'm curious about, when the reporting on the debt, right, on the student loan. So does that mean that is that upon post-grad, upon graduation?
Yes. Yeah. Because that's when it. I think that's when it turns into. That's when the student loan turns into the student loan debt. Yeah.
The date, graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if it was, I was curious, because if it was any time farther out, then that would speak to the wage gap, wage disparities perhaps. But if it's right after graduation, then that's something preceding is causing women to have more debt
Right.
than men.
Right. There's some theories that the reports have, but I don't know that anything is based on data. They're supposing things, and I think there may be some data that's being shown because I got a little I wasn't quite sure what I was seeing, but it looked like there was a certain sort of category of loans that parents can take out. And you can I think you can identify those. And they were saying that it looked like men's parents took out more of those loans than women's parents, which is kind of interesting, I think. So it's basically like the student's not there's student loan debt involved here because somebody's taking out a loan, but it's not necessarily the student that's taking the loan out. In the case of a man, it's maybe his parents that are doing it.
Those parent plus loans.
That would, I remember seeing that Parents Plus. Yeah. So I think there's potentially something interesting going on there, but I don't quite know. It wasn't quite. A lot of that was like we're supposing this based on the numbers that we're seeing, but it wasn't necessarily something they were definitively saying this is happening. So I think that's potentially something else to look at with that report, though.
Any other questions for Julie?
I will share the data sources and the reports for the minutes, so you have that.
I was going to share it later, and I should have sent this in earlier, and I don't know, but I just want you guys all to know that I have started, this is all of Julie's data from the last meeting or the meeting before. So, so I'm working on some data sets. So I have taken everything she has, and like this meeting, I will take from the transcript and pull it out and put it into data sets, or into graphs and stuff. So, as continue to work on, as we continue to work on, sorry, hold on. Data sets and a potential dashboard and stuff. I just want everybody to know that this is something.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah. Totally.
Can't let you, hog all the spotlight. Just kidding. It's helpful. I mean, I need the motivation, so it's very helpful.
And I don't remember what the next month's topic is, but I will look at it.
Well, yeah, if you can get it to me earlier, I can certainly add it and turn it into graphs and stuff, so we can, so we have some visual aids too. I think is helpful.
Thanks. It's very informative.
Thanks for doing the research so we don't have to.
Well, I'm getting it started. I can't say I'm like fully done.
That Pew Research said.
Okay. Or just commissioner updates in general. Maria, do you have any updates?
I do. So the NAACP was off for July, so we did not meet in July, but the NAACP Youth Council now has a charter of which I'm the advisor of, but I'm looking for another co-advisor as well. So if you know anybody, honestly, I'm out. And I do want to let everyone know that Hoosier Asian American Power has served the state of Indiana with the second notice of violation of House Enrolled Act 12, or the NVRA, the National Voter Registration something, that, and I misspoke, the House Enrolled Act 1264 is in violation of the NVRA. And so that is, HAP has that partnership with the NAACP State, the League of Women Voters, Common Cause of Indiana, and we do also now have one individual plaintiff. So we will see what happens with that. Jody says that she is online but having trouble unmuting and turning on her camera. I feel like I see her.
Oh, there's
Hi,
Jody.
Jody.
I don't know why.
We can see you now. Yeah, that's it's small.
Thank you for being here. That's all I have.
Oh, there we go.
We can see you now.
Now you're the main picture.
We're in the room behind your head.
I was like, it's almost like she's here.
But she can't talk. Can you talk now?
Can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Are they working on it or?
I don't know.
We can come
I'm gonna go. Molly, do you have any updates?
No, I'm boring. I wish I did.
Do you have any, Tiana, do you have any updates? No?
Updates on what? Like, not, oh, no, I can give some updates, but no, I do not have any.
Right, that's right.
Alrighty. Let's go on to old and ongoing business.
Jody, she's waving. Can you say anything?
Or do you want to put it in chat?
She has the
Saying
updates.
goodbye.
2 words. She's gonna mime it out. Just mime it out.
Are you working on the sound?
No, I don't think
I don't
chat's
think,
enabled.
I don't think
Wait,
it,
Roxanne left, I think. I don't know what happened.
Can you guys hear me now?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. There we go. Perfect. Sorry about that.
Glad you are here.
And we're live. Okay.
Did you have an update?
Did you?
Jody, did you have an update?
I'm sorry, are you guys asking me if I had an update?
Yes.
No.
Oh.
Liz, do you have anything you'd
I
like
think
to?
I'm okay, but thanks.
Okay. Policy Subcommittee, Commissioners Hardesty and Douglas.
We are continuing to work on reviewing the resources that the Gender Studies librarian from Indiana University supplied to us. And we've had a discussion with them since the last time we all met. And the resources that we've gotten are providing some perspective that we don't necessarily have in the gender equity rubric, that is really kind of getting at looking at a gendered perspective that's queer, not that isn't necessarily binary, not female, not male, and contemplating criteria from that perspective. We also had a discussion about including a definition of gender as part of the guidelines document that goes with the rubric to make sure that that's completely clear what we're referring to when we're saying gender. And then we had a little bit of discussion, which potentially will feed into the guidelines about what we want to get out of having this rubric out there. So if there's any sort of reporting back mechanism, if anyone makes use of it, especially if it's used within county government, it'd be good to get feedback on what that experience was like, if it was helpful, if there are things that were confusing or useful. that sort of feedback. So does that?
So I've been thinking about, it was great to meet with you and Nikolai, and I've been thinking that what we were looking at was what we talked about a couple meetings ago, which was what were the outcomes of the rubrics that we drew from, the research that we drew from, that sort of thing. So we've been looking into that a little bit more. And so this is new to Julie because I just have been thinking about it, that I'm curious if some of these rubrics or these publications of these rubrics were somewhat performative, because we're not finding a lot of use of them. We're not finding a lot of reporting or follow through from them, So in my mind, I'm kind of why do you create something and not have some outcomes from it? If you took time to create a thing. That's just a little curious to me, because we're scouring the internet, the interwebs for this information. And Nikolai, the subject matter expert, they found a few things for us, but nothing that was, we created this equity rubric, this rubric to measure equity, and it was used in this way, and this is what the outcome was. And I'm it's 2025. So that's just curious to me.
It is kind of interesting to see that. So yeah, I think there's more discussion that we should have about that, because I think if we want to have this available, we do want to see feedback on it. We do want to see what is it that is useful about this, or what is it that is not useful about this. So
who are you hoping to get feedback from?
Well, we'd had the conversation about this being something that we make as publicly available as possible, just make it a resource available in the county, available online. Right. So if organizations or businesses make use of it for whatever work they do, creating policies, and it's just out in the world, out in the community, being able to ask them for feedback if they're going to make use of it within county government. I think particularly if it's ever used, it would be useful to hear back from that process and how that worked.
Oh, I would think that you could contact employee services through the county. I don't know. That would be where I would start, I think.
Employee services?
Employee services, to work on your rubric, right? To get feedback from employee services about the rubric. Is that what you're looking for?
This would be more if the commissioners or the council were to use it for any sort of policy development.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And getting feedback from making use of the rubric for. Yeah.
You could send it to the council email address and have it shared with the whole county council, and I'm sure you could do that with the commissioners as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we were kind of sort of hoping we could have it posted when it's ready on the Women's Commission's page, and then it's just out there for anybody that wants to try to wants to make use of it. And then we would want to try to encourage people, government organizations, to use it. So
Could you, I think, to get feedback, then you have to have some kind of questionnaire, right?
Yeah.
You can't just an open-ended, so it's you post the rubric, and then if you use this, please fill out this survey or whatever.
yeah, it's probably going to be something along those lines, I think. Yeah. Yep.
Something short, because nobody likes a survey.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I think something where we can have some follow-up and actually be able to share with that, what's happened or not happened. So is that?
I think one quick question or just point of order. Whatever is done before it is finalized, the commissioners do want to see it before it's posted. And I think the appropriate point would be, either at a work session, or I know this is hard for people to get off work in the middle of the day. Perhaps we can make a presentation that we can show at a commissioners meeting, or the commissioners can attend one of our meetings, something like that. But I think they would have a lot of interest in seeing a project like this.
If a recorded presentation is possible, is that what you're saying?
Yes, I know that, the commissioners' meetings are at like 10 o'clock
Yeah.
in the mornings on Thursdays.
Yeah, I
So
often cannot
it's not a
participate.
time that a lot of people can readily get off
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. That would, I think a recorded presentation for the commissioners meeting, I think is for sure possible. But depending on how far ahead it gets planned for being part of a meeting, depending on the schedule, I could potentially try and get away from work to do it in person too. So
And that is the intent. We do have a slide deck.
Yes.
That's ready to go, that actually we've shown the
Yeah.
commission here.
Yeah.
And then receive feedback, and now we're doing this other work. So yeah, our intent is to get on the agenda and make a presentation.
Yes.
Thank you.
But having the option of a recorded presentation is helpful to know. So thank you.
Awesome. Yes, I've seen others do it. And again, that gets it out for the public, lets them know just for transparency, but also I think it's always good to have as full and robust a discussion about these things as possible as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anything else
We did public comment for regarding the jail, but that was at the county council and commissioners meetings, and it's all part of the meeting records there. So I don't know that we need to say anything here about it. Yeah, that it happened.
Data subcommittee, Maria and I. So one of the big things, I've been working. We've been working. So one of the things that I talked about months ago was reaching out to somebody to work on a capstone project, data collection project for us. Well, I have someone who is interested in doing a project with us. It wouldn't be until next summer is, I think, when they have something next available. It's through SPIA. It is actually the same professor that did the work for the city when they did their capstone project a couple years ago. So I think they already have a good idea. I think one of the things that I guess we should probably vote on this today so I can move forward is if that's the direction we want to go, something, that we can move forward with, then, presenting data. I'd probably invite them to come, the professor to come to see and give a good idea about the data that we're interested in collecting it over the course of that summer. Because I definitely have, as I've been digging into numbers and even hearing Julie's numbers, I realize how much work there is to be done, and to really get an idea of what's really feasible to be collected would be really helpful. So if I make a motion, what?
Say get in the microphone.
Into the, so I would like to present, yes, that we move ahead with formalizing students at SPIA at IU to work with us next summer to collect data to help us, fulfill our data landscape. So,
Is it students working with us directly or working with the professor?
I mean,
I'm
it's gonna be.
confused. What are you having somebody do? Like maybe I'm missing
So one of the parts that we're gonna do, so years ago, they did a data landscape for the city, right? But it didn't really include the county. We have that information. We would like to make that information broader for the county. Part of one of the things that I've been working on in the data analysis set for the data is that there's so limited data. There's no data on, to even really build much of a dashboard about the status of women in Monroe County, and getting this class to help us build a data set and collect data about the status of women based on the parameters that we give them. So
So the ask is if we're having somebody help us build a dashboard. a data dashboard,
I think a
or
report about the status. I think I would say the report on the status of women in Monroe County that we could utilize to build a dashboard if we need it. We need it.
What kind of data, like how would we define the status of women? Would that be like health, socioeconomic, sort of broadly across the board? Would we allow the students to define that? Would we set parameters?
So I think so. Some of the work that we've been doing. So as I like digging into the data landscape and trying to figure out how defining the status and the needs of women and marginalized genders in Monroe County, and trying to, so, your basics is demographic, economic, health, and social indicators, and then trying to figure out, breaking that down. I have, like a document that talks about demographic data is population by gender, age distribution, languages, female-headed households, economic indicators of median income, poverty rate, employment status, and such. Health and safety, we could do healthcare and insurance coverage, maternal health indicators, rates of domestic violence, and then education, we dropout rates and educational attainment. So I mean, there's obviously, there are more like indicators, I guess, about the status. So I think it's really would be about trying to decide, especially, us presenting, this big picture and letting them tell us what they think is feasible to, to gather in that time, and trying to come up with something together that would be, productive and helpful for us.
It seems like there's a gap, because if Julie can only find information from 23, 24, we're in 25.
Yep.
And then there's still some information prior to COVID too that's missing. So that's why I was asking, like, what are we trying to create? But
yeah, because there is,
a lot.
based on the data that I've gathered, a lot of the general statistics that I have for the, general data, like population, degrees, employment rates, and stuff like that, it barely breaks out women a lot of the times, especially on the county level, let alone marginalized genders. That data is, almost is non-existent, especially on the county level. So trying to figure out, that data would be, I think, would be the ideal goal, to start building a dashboard based on, what we decide is, or whatever,
So they would be collecting the data, but then who's building the dashboard? They're going to help us do that too, or that's what you're going to do?
I could do that. We could do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But whatever they, whatever to me is, based on the ask and what they can provide, based on their limitations of the class, would be interesting.
Well, and I'm also wondering if this is working with that professor that helped with the Bloomington report, and what the areas were that were focused on in that report, that maybe that is like an outside containment area. And then if they don't have the capacity to cover all of that at the county level, maybe there's something they can focus in on within that at the county level.
Yeah, especially because, the last project looks like they were done over, the spring semester. This is a summer class. So they, it's probably a lot more limited in the, their report. Oh, Dr. Diana Henschel. Gosh, that was driving me crazy. Once you guys have access, we have access to, that capstone project. So we could all see it. They did climate change impacts, gender perspective, climate economy, energy, family planning, reproductive services, local food and food security, freshwater security, transportation, city survey, et cetera, et cetera. They talked about the questionnaire design, their methodology, data processing, limitations, and then they provided an analysis. So it'll be interesting to see. I was thinking, that would be over the fair, which I think would be a great time to try to collect data, because you just hit a whole different, it's just a different demographic, and So that would be my thought too.
I have a couple things. The one of the authors or whatnot of that is there one by the name of Whitney?
One of the students?
Yeah.
Whitney Coling.
Yes. Okay, cool. That was so this was the report that the chamber distributed far and wide whatever year it was, but they literally were like printed it and distributed it. Okay, so I know that I'm on the committee with you, but full transparency, Susan's done all the work that she's been talking about right now. So, and also full transparency, this is the first time I've ever heard us talk about a dashboard. So I would be curious as to, one, if I missed something, two, which is very possible, two, if for what purpose, and I'm curious about, similar to the rubric questions, like, after this capstone, the city did this capstone, do we have any information on how they used this capstone? Because I would want to make sure that we're spending this time and energy and the student resources in a way that will produce action. Because now is not the time for non-action. Now is not the time to do something just to be doing something. And I'm not saying that we are. I'm just saying that I would like us to be very, action driven and not just like, look, we made this thing. And
Well, I think a lot of, one, it's, part of the, especially, the subcommittee is trying to figure out who we serve, right? So we don't know who we serve. So there's a part of that. So I mean, I think that is the lens we have to remember.
who does the Women's Commission serve?
I mean, the data subcommittee's mission is to figure out who we serve through data. The Women's
Commission,
who we serve
I've lost the plot, apparently.
through the data lens. I really did think we talked about a dashboard at some point, but I don't remember. I feel like we did, but I could be wrong.
I thought this came out with trying to see, I know the rubric, what Julie's working on and how we're going to use the rubric with policy. Because, I was thinking about some things even at IU, how they can actually use the rubric, which now I don't know how we can use it, but that's whatever.
Nope.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. But I'm just curious on if we do this dashboard or present this data for what? Like, what are we going to do with it? That's what I'm...
Well, I think the original question is trying to figure out who we serve. We don't know who is in this county and what we don't. We don't know poverty rates. We don't know education rates. That's part of what we're trying to understand is who, again, I get it. I don't know necessarily the next step after figuring out who lives here, and who we serve. Is it trying to figure out this is who we serve. Now, how do we serve them? What is the next step that would help amplify them? Are holes in services going to become glaring as a next step? And I think my hope in that is the next step will become obvious once the data is acknowledged. I think it's going to be, I don't think there's, in my mind, going to be a whole lot of surprises for me. I think actually there was one because I didn't realize how many women were farmers.
Right.
Yeah. That kind of information. Yeah. So it's like trying to figure out if that's true, then, if that's true, do we target, those women, the female farmers, and figure out, do they need voices amplified? Do they need, that's an audience that maybe hasn't been recognized. And
right.
I think that's the goal.
Right. We've got a commissioner who's a female farmer.
So, oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we had talked when we established the data committee. it was a different time. It was like over a year and a half ago. So that's why I was just kind of like wanting to review what we were,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and make sure that it's action oriented, because now is not the time to not do something that's action oriented.
However, yes, but we don't even have the foundation, in my mind, of who we're serving. So therefore, I think that needs to be established.
Do we, well, okay, I think this, yeah, okay.
You know, I do think that there are definitely actionable items. Yeah, but I definitely feel like we don't, yeah, there is a foundation that can be laid at the same time.
Right. So I'm clear. So what we're doing is we are trying to represent the women in Monroe County and advise the commissioners, because we don't necessarily serve anybody. We're an advisory group to the commissioners. So we're trying to figure out who we're representing, what they need, so then we can advise the commissioners.
Well, I think it goes both ways, right? So it's also in the sense of, you know, when you have Jody and Liz here all the time, you know, to hear like some of the directions and information that we're gathering and think about the work that they're doing, that they could ask us like, oh, so we are thinking about doing XYZ, you know, a farmer program. Oh, so, you know, are there groups that we could be ignoring, or could you help us gather data on how many women farmers there are? You know, those kind of things. And then also, you know, so it comes down, and then it could also go, you know, kind of like, you know, the jail, it went both ways, right? It went, they were creating this, we were a gender equity lens on that project, on the, you know, the ongoing project. So just disseminating information. Well, there we were going up, but hopefully with, you know, that was the big excitement with Liz and Jody coming all the time, is that, you know, they could see the work that we're doing, and so they could help us, you know, with action items and focusing support for them.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense? Okay. Who knows? I don't know how well I'm articulate sometimes, so. But do we feel okay?
Yeah, I don't know. Are we voting? Yeah, no, I feel fine. Thank you for that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can I ask a newbie question?
Sure.
New.
I thought you said easy.
Yes. Again, this is just me new to these meetings and new to how to word votes and things like this. I talked to Molly about, you know, basically how these commissions are supposed to work with the commissioners. When you guys did this project before, did you do a vote to then take this project to the commissioners? Did you do a vote on the project? When I asked Molly, she seemed to say the vote was a vote to basically take the project to the commissioners.
We have not done this project before.
Okay.
So you're saying if we take on these students, what's the next
The
step?
data project, or I guess the data project that you guys worked on with the city.
Didn't.
We didn't.
We didn't work on the one with the city. We just have that information.
Oh, okay. Well, then I must have gotten my wires crossed before when I asked her about how you guys worked on a project before, because I've been trying to figure out how commissions work with commissioners, and it seems to be different with each commission or across commissions, and that doesn't make it easy to understand, you know, how these things are supposed to work. What do you guys typically do when you guys take a vote on a project? Do you usually like take a vote and then start? Do you usually take a vote and then, you know, take it to the council and take it to the commission? You know, how does that usually work?
So the process should be that, I mean, really the only active project outside of, is the coding, the website camp. And that has been, you know, a struggle. So that was something that we inherited. And so moving forward, if, you know, I think, it's like the rubric, we do that, and then eventually, obviously, then we take it to, commissioners to get approved, to get it disseminated.
Right.
In the same way as today, once we vote on, engaging with, the IU class about helping us gather data next summer, then it would go to be presented at the county commissioners for, is my understanding.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, that clarifies things, because I didn't know if you guys could basically, start, or where it kind of moved next in the chain of command, if that makes sense, right? Thank you. That clarifies things.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to say that in the past, no one's really paid attention to us. Like, we didn't have a commissioner, council member coming to the meeting. So, if we saw something that we wanted to support, such as a free, health clinic at the Banneker Center, then we voted on that, and we supported the free health clinic at the Banneker Center.
Well, we do have, I have a official, and it's been presented here before, a procedure for obtaining approval for Monroe County Women's Commission activities that has been worked out with Molly. And so we do have official steps, which is, what I just said, we review and vote, and then it gets added to the agenda, and then et cetera, so.
Gotcha. So like any other agenda item. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
At the risk of sounding, new, I guess I'll just sound new.
No, we've gone through this a couple of times trying to figure out what to do, and sometimes we do something and then have to be like, oh, sorry, that was not the right way to do it. So that's happened.
And honestly,
well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Lately. No, we've been really good.
So good in 25.
Really good in 25. I would say that.
I don't know. I guess Liz is new as well. Maybe we both had the same question. I don't know, but thank you so very much. That was very clear and helpful. Thank you.
I didn't realize that was supposed to be on. I had put it on new business, but I guess technically it all went into data subcommittee.
So I am new as well, but I did serve on the Women's Commission years ago as not a counselor. So I have experience on the Women's Commission itself. And it has changed in how it operates, I would say, a little. I'll just put it that way.
And, we could always decide, or somebody could decide to change that again if they wanted to. So I don't know if I would like to propose that we move ahead with, because that's what I told the professors, that I would get back to them with final information. So, or approval, and we didn't have the meeting last month, so I haven't reached back out to her, so. That's my.
Can you state the motion again? I'm sorry.
That we would engage with the oh gosh, I don't know.
SPIA class.
Yes, the SPIA class, and Dr. Henschel to move ahead with the data collection and on the status of women in Monroe County.
Next summer.
Next summer. In, 2026.
I second.
Well, all in favor say aye.
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 No abstentions. That will move forward. Thank you all very
So
much.
Jody, I'm not sure you and I have a vote, just so you know.
Not official
Yes.
votes.
Yeah, not on this work.
We don't know
We're-
either,
we're
but
just,
we'll take it if you got it.
We're
I don't
just
know.
here.
You're ex officio. You used to be voting. Not
That's right,
anymore.
yeah.
Oh.
Ex officio then.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you have anything else you'd like to report from the data subcommittee?
No. Thank you.
That's what happens when I work. The outreach subcommittee, Roger, Belton, and Otto. Jennifer is not here. Do we updates on the web design camp?
No, we do not. I checked my email. The last correspondence was April 21st from IU's assistant, I don't even know her title, but that's all I'm gonna say. No updates. I pinged her though just now because I wanted to make sure I wasn't reporting the wrong information. It's because in her last message, she said that before it's finalized. So this is August, and they do listen to our minutes, and they will read them, and hopefully she responds. But nothing. But I'm gonna talk to my subcommittee because I have a proposal by working at IU too. I'm gonna have one of our graduate students reach out because we're actually doing a high school conference and it will involve some of the stuff that we did in the web design camp. So it's a way that we can partner with them. But I'm gonna have them reach out so it won't be a conflict of interest because, you know, I'm not the IU representative. I'm the Women's Commission representative.
Yeah.
So Paul Macklin represents the Luddy School. So I'm just reporting back. So I think that's another route that we can go as well. I mean, because they're moving. I mean, so we can talk about that.
If we want to do something with IU, I mean, I think
Yes.
that would be a vote, up to a vote.
Absolutely.
Other than what's already on the table. If we want to do something other than what's already
Yes.
on the table.
It's already on the table.
Can I ask, I mean, I would consider this an outreach. I'm gonna ask an outreach question and, you know, because, I mean, and I agree, action items do we feel like there's something else that we could be doing in these times?
I mean, we can have a working session and come up with many things that we could be doing.
It's not us that.
It's not, yeah.
So,
I just didn't know if there was
Yeah, so
something
the-
that was like a burning thing in your mind that you had been thinking about.
oh, I
as
have a
well.
ton of things, but also the answer to your question is no.
I think we're doing great.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was something else, like something that else was.
I think it's gonna be so cool with that data, just even having a grid on the website to show who we're serving and the populations. That's a plus, you know. We're making strides. This will be a good stride if we get this approved too.
Because I don't know, and this is something, you know, that I can work with Julie, about the data and trying to figure out a dashboard and then, you know, working with, moving things and understanding that not certain things aren't perfect and then just being okay with starting to share data and,
Yeah.
you know, just keep understanding that it's a living project and,
Yeah, that's
because
that's
I don't
what
want to
was-
have to wait necessarily as we acquire data to make, you know, till next for a year, you know, before we can present something when we've already started, in my mind, acquiring, you know, excellent data to be shared. So.
Yeah, I have some ideas, but I'm at capacity. I'm trying to finish a dissertation. So once I'm done with that, I'll be able to share some other ideas.
I know, yes. Okay.
I have ideas, but your girl is tired, so I will share them when I'm not tired.
I was just even thinking about, I had extra period supplies at my house, menstrual products, and I was like, you know, and every time I go to the bathroom in here, and it frustrates me that, you know, the county doesn't have free products places and, you know, doing things like that, so.
And IU, they do.
Yeah, at IU, and I think the city does too,
city.
and some places, but the
And-
county doesn't, so, or, you know, I was like, oh, where can I donate my supplies? And then it just led me down, you know, my whole rabbit hole of stuff, so.
Project that
know.
somebody on another subcommittee of the outreach committee could do. I'm not volunteering.
A sub.
Sub.
Or, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so new business, I obviously already covered the capstone project, the women in Monroe County, we can put, elsewhere. I don't think comment. Is there any last item that anybody would care to share, comments? Otherwise, it is 6:42 and I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Commissioner Madeira, for coming. Counselor Fidel for coming.
Pleasure to be here. You.